So deadweight loss is the total cost created by market inefficiency. So with a tax imposed, for example, this little triangle right here would be an example of deadweight loss because no one is getting any money from that. That's just the welfare lost from the tax imposed. A price floor is the minimum legal price a seller can sell a product for. So in this market for sneakers, that price would be $200. And this price has to be above the equilibrium point, or else it has no effect on the actual market. For a price ceiling, that's basically the maximum price a seller can charge for a product. So for apartments, this could be $500, meaning that producers would have to sell that for something lower than that. However, this line over here has to be below the equilibrium point, or else, like I said, it has no effect on the market itself. Let's say that a price ceiling was imposed by the government because they placed a maximum price of $3,000 for TVs. So here would be my $3,000 price ceiling, and remember it has to be below the equilibrium line. So this would cause the consumer surplus to go from this general triangle to this kind of like trapezoid shape right here. Whereas this producer surplus, which is usually this size, would shorten down to something smaller like here. And then the deadweight loss would be this triangle right here, which means that that money just would be lost in the process. There isn't only a loss in consumer surplus and in producer surplus, but also a loss in quantity. The before quantity would be 5, but with the price ceiling added, it would revert down to 2 units. So in order to calculate the deadweight loss, which is this triangle right here, you would just basically use the formula for a triangle. So you would take the base, which is the difference between 2 and 5, and add it here. And then you would take the height, which is the difference between 8,000 and 3,000, which would be 5,000. And then you would multiply them together and then also multiply them by 1/2. So in total, that would give you $7,500 of deadweight loss. So if the price ceiling was increased or lifted slightly, this would obviously cause an increase in the producer surplus to slightly a more bigger triangle, as well as a slight decrease in the consumer surplus because this would shift up, and a slight decrease in the deadweight loss because this would also shift up, causing a smaller triangle. However, if that shift up went above the equilibrium point, that would just revert the consumer surplus and producer surplus to these same 2 old triangles because that wouldn't really have any effect on the market itself. So in another practice problem, let's say that if the government placed a minimum price of $200,000 for motorbikes, or a price floor, it would be this right here. This would cause the consumer surplus to shift into the small little triangle up here. The producer surplus would now take over this space right here, and the deadweight loss would become this little triangle right here. There would also be that loss in quantity from 3 units down to 2 units.